Yeah, so thanks so much for the intro, man. We love Dubb, by the way. I mean, that is a shameless promotion. We adopted it and we're loving it. And I'll share some success stories after. But Origin is really me just getting a job. One time I got a job because I needed a job, and it's so weird, but and it's a lot of our stories, right? I just needed a job, and I got an IT support at a software company that happened to sell software to real estate agents. And what I noticed is it was that really like freemium model, like 30-day free trial, then it converts into a monthly bill. And people would not understand exactly how to use it because those people that were trying to use it were early adopters themselves. But there's also some people who didn't really know how to use it. Anyways, long story, I kept saving the potential cancels. And from there, I go, hey, I think I could sell this thing, but I'd like to try to sell it to teams. There's this new concept called Teams. This is 2012-ish. And I go, but I only want to sell to teams. And I don't want to sell to brokerages. So then I created my own sales process there to sell real estate software solutions to real estate agents. And then I hired my own team and kind of went from there. The software ended up getting bought by a big competitor. And from there, I went into real estate investing and was just doing the hard work, bird dogs, right? All that stuff, kind of helping investors find potential deals.
What's bird dogs?
So bird dog is somebody who goes out literally just driving around and says, that looks like an ugly, crappy property that might want to sell for cash. Maybe this investor that I know will buy it. And if the investor buys it, they pay me $500 from having said, go talk to these people.
Got it. So is it typically on a lead basis or only if the transaction happens?
It depends on who you're working with, right? The person that I was doing it with, they were like $200 if I talk to the person and meet with them, $500 if I buy it. Right? But from there, I learned the art of negotiating with sellers and talking to sellers. And so talking to motivated sellers is a key thing in real estate, right? Because if you control the listing inventory, you control everything else. So talking to motivated sellers is the skill set I gained there. From there, I went into another really just job where I was learning about real estate investment. I worked for a real estate investment education company. And in that meantime, I was really learning the process. And my wife got pregnant, and she, we're about to have our first kid. I'm working at this job. I have benefits. It's pretty good. I'm getting promoted. I have a lot of upward mobility. But I looked and I said, you know what? When I have that kid, I'm not going to want to take much risk. Right? I said, so now or never. So I tell my 5-month pregnant wife, hey, by the way, I know you're still in college and just kind of figuring out what's going to happen after college, but I'm going to quit my job, leave everything, and go sell real estate.
and that's the time to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If you wait, it becomes more difficult.
No, I just knew my brain was not going to allow me to want to take a risk when I saw a little baby that I was responsible for.
Oh yeah.
So I just jumped and I said, let's do it. She supported me. I went into it. But what's crazy is this, and this is how it ties into technology. One of the people that I sold the team software solution to actually was running the number one real estate company or number one real estate office in my city here in San Diego. So I reach out and I start talking to him. He's super tech savvy guy, taught himself to code on Christmas break as a present to himself. Really high level, intelligent guy. And so we get together, we start working on stuff, and I get into real estate. In a very short time, he pulls me aside one day and says, hey, I think that there's something different you should be doing in real estate.
Yeah.
You should be helping leadership and developing other people. And so I got into that role. And when I was doing that, he exposed me to a lot of why he was an early adopter of the software that I sold him a while back. And he talked a lot about leverage and a lot about really conveying that sales is influence and leadership is influence. So leadership and sales are the exact same thing. And so how can you influence and lead people that results in sales, right? How can you influence and lead people in a more leveraged way?
Right.
And every single time it came back to technology. So for me, I'm always willing to try new technology. Again, I'm sure you'll ask me questions about how we use Dubb. It's because we want to be effective in influencing people, effective in leading people, which again are synonymous with sales. And by being able to do that, we have to use leverage, because as the team scales, we're going mass media. Don't get me wrong. We have billboards and we're on TV and all this stuff. But in order to really leverage me as an individual salesperson, or one of the people that are on my team, these world-class people that I work with, in order to leverage themselves in that area of leadership and influence, you gotta leverage technology.
Yes.
Whether it's CRM, but video is huge.
Right. Well, I think it's such a breath of fresh air to hear that from you, because I was just having a conversation actually today with someone, and he was saying, Jason Duncan, and he was saying that he's psyched to be using technology specifically. I mean, he was talking about Dubb, shameless plug there, but what he said was interesting, and it struck a chord with me. He said, I want to be using this type of technology, sending videos to kind of build up relationships with people as fast and as quickly as I possibly can, because eventually everyone's going to be doing it.
Yep.
So when I heard about that, there was a couple of emotions that went through and sort of ideas and thoughts that went through my mind, which is, number one is, we want to be available out there for people to use. Obviously, we want to scale as a company, but also, as more people start to leverage technology, we all have to continue to sharpen our tools, so that as the non-early adopters, as the late adopters start to use technology, that we can actually stay ahead of the curve and be in front of them and have a competitive edge. So I think about this, and it affects all of us. Like, how can we always stay ahead?
Yeah.
So how are you guys staying ahead? What else are you guys doing?
So when we decided to really go into video, one of the main things, so what keeps us ahead? Super quick or super easy answer is masterminding with people that are at the top of the game. So we are a top 150 team in the United States by real estate sales volume. And so that's who we hang out with. And so when we see them doing something that we believe works, either something that we already do and they do better, or something we don't do that we think we might want to do, that's one of the main things now to stay ahead. Now, to even outpace them, what it is following a process of adoption, right? So that's one of the, that's a tech term you hear, right? Adoption. Who's going to be an early adopter, all those things. Well, in order to influence other people, we first have to enroll our team. So we have 20 salespeople. They're all rock stars. We have to enroll them in things like believing in video, right? How to use it, how to train them. So when I'm enrolling you in something, I pretty darn well better be knowledgeable about it. I better understand it at a high level. And I should be able to point to some use cases that make my argument for me, right?
Yeah.
So in order to do that, I have to use video all the time. So how do I stay is I actually use it for leading. I use it so a big part of what we do in our industry is there's a huge correlation between how many people work for you and how profitable you are.
Right. Isn't that the key metric on productivity? Yeah,
it is. And so there's in a cap model, commission structure, whatever, if you don't talk real estate, don't worry about it. But there's about a 91% correlation between agent count and profitability.
Yes.
So there's the front door where we have to recruit. There's the back door we have to have culture keep people in, right? And so in order to do that, I have a real job. I'm actively recruiting and attracting talent. And then I'm actively re-enrolling my group into, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's how we like to do it. This is the culture, right? And so I leverage technology. When I want to make an announcement, I do that stuff. And so what that forces me to do, because I'm also really busy, what that forces me to do is just last week, I asked you, hey, I want to learn this one thing about Salesforce's integration with Dubb, or Dubb's integration, because we use Salesforce at a high level, which is rare in a real estate team too.
It is, but that's cool. Flexible tool.
With Dubb, you can easily send your business videos from Gmail, LinkedIn, CRMs, and so many more places, but you don't have to take my word for it.
Absolutely perfect.
Screen records, landing pages that can really help businesses to grow.